Now let's start creating a main menu for our game. To do this, we need to add a new scene. Go to My Project and here you create a new scene and name it Main Menu. Now go to this scene and here we will add 3 buttons. First button will be to play the game and second button will be options and third button will be to quit the game. Select your main camera and from here instead of skybox select a solid color and change this color to black. Now add a button to your game, button to your scene here and press the Alt button and click here and position it in the middle and it is already positioned in the middle. So I will scale it up. Let me see in the game view. I will drag my game view here so that I can see the both. So I will reduce the height, move it a bit up. Now click this button and delete this text. You don't need text because there are very few options to style the text element inside Unity. So I will delete it. Now click your button and from UI click this text and text mesh pro. If you are importing this first time, then it may show you dialog to import text mesh pro. If it shows you this option, then import these. So I have already imported these. So if I click this, it will add a text mesh. Now, first of all, I will select my button and change its color to black. Not black, maybe I will add it the red color to it. And now I will change its height and width. Now select this text mesh pro and change its text to black and change its alignment to middle here and also vertically it should be middle. Now I will change the font size and make it bigger. I will change the font size to 120 and to fix this issue you can see that it is appearing strangely now. You need to change the size of this text mesh pro and I will scale it to cover the whole button. Now inside here you have option to add color gradient. So you can click here, you can add color gradient to here, from here or you can add your own color gradient preset. So for example, if I click here and create and from the text mesh pro, I can create a color gradient here. And now select your color gradient and now you can create a color gradient. For example, I will randomly select the color. Now select your text and add this color gradient here. The other option is I will delete this created color preset and I will select my text here and I will select none, and I will add color gradient from here. So I will quickly do this. You can fix this color gradient as you like. I will do it quickly. And you can see that a color gradient has been added. Now you can play with these colors to make it more beautiful. Now I will change the color of the buttons when it is pressed or it is highlighted when we, for example, if I play the game, if I take my mouse here, it does not change the color of the button. Actually, I want to change the color of the button when it is pressed and it is already being changed. So it is okay. Or you can change it from here. You can change, for example, if you change the color here from green and play the game and press, now you can see that when it is pressed the color is green. The green does not look good, so I will add a red color, a dark red color. So color similar to this but a bit different. Now I will duplicate this button and first I will name it to the play button. Duplicate it and move it down. And again duplicate it and move it down. I will change its name to the options button, and here I will change it to the quit button. It will quit the game. And also I will change the text. To change the text, come here and I will say it options. And this will be quit. So these are how our buttons look. So I will move quit button up a bit. And also I will select all the buttons by pressing shift and clicking them and move them all. Actually we cannot do this because they are now all at the same position. So I will press Ctrl Z and undo it. So I will manually do it. Move it up. Move this option button up. And move this. Now they are aligned and looking good. So from the next lecture we will start adding functionality to these buttons. In the last lecture we created this main menu for our game. In this lecture we will create a scene where player will be able to choose different cars to play with. So create this new scene and I have named it choose car, and select your main camera and select solid color, and I have changed color to black. Now I have added some other car models from the asset store. These are the 2 car models I added, and also I will make prefab of the car we were using in our track. And I will go to my project and my track scene I will choose the car folder. To make the prefab of your game object, select this game object and move it here inside the folder. And now the prefab has been made. Now we will use these three cars and player will be able to choose from these three cars to play with. So I will go back to my choose car scene. Now I will start adding cars. So first I will add this car, and now inside the scene view select this car and use your mouse to move to this car and find a good position where your car looks good and select a height, and your car should be in the middle horizontally and vertically. So find a perfect position where you like, and when it is done select your main camera and go to game object and click align with view. Now you can see that the car is not in the middle. I will move my main camera manually inside at the X position, and it is moving too much. So I will add manually some value here. So a little change in the X value moves car too much distance. So I will select again the scene view and find a position. Select your main camera again and go to the game object and click align with view. So I think it is okay now. Now create a empty game object and name it cars and drag your car here. Now I will add the second car here. Choose the position of the first car, transform component value of the first car and go to your play 3 car and click on the paste component values. Now by default this car will be deactivated here. So now we need to add this car. Again click on the transform component and click it paste component values. Now first I will not click here paste component values, and I will, or maybe I will do it and move it to that position. Now I want to show you what will happen if I play the game. First I will disable this car and let me play the game. Now you can see that this car is here at the position and it is not going anywhere. This car has no script attached and no rigid body or no colliders because we don't need them. So I will start the game now and I will select the player car and disable this, and you will see that this car is falling down. This is because this car is made prefab. The prefab of this car is made from the track to which the script are attached, and we have a rigid body attached. So I will remove this rigid body and all the scripts from it. But before doing this, go to your original scene and I will click save. Go to your original scene and click this player car and right click here and click unpack prefab completely. If you don't do this, Then any changes you do to your original prefab here, inside here, these changes will also be done to this player card. So for example, if we remove rigid body from here, then it is possible that the rigid body is also removed from this game, this player card. So I will unlink it from this prefab. So unpack it and go to your choose car scene. And now select your car and remove all the components and scripts. So first I will remove the car user control and all the scripts. Also we don't need these colliders. And if I delete this collider, then it is not letting me do this. For this, what I will do, click delete, and you can do opening prefab, or what you can do, you can again unpack prefab, and now they are no longer linked. So you can delete this prefab and delete these colliders, and now make a prefab of it again. So first I will rename it player 2. Not player 2, it should be car 1. Car 3, or car 2, and this will be our car 3. So now if I play the game, then car will not fall down. Now I will disable these two cars and I will enable the first car. Now I have added some UI elements, and these are the PNG images, and I will add them here to change the cars. So first go to UI and add a button. Delete text component of the button. Select the 2D view from the scene. Here, change the source image, click this, and from this arrow 1 and arrow 2, select this arrow, and now you will need to rotate this arrow. Click here to choose the rotate tool and rotate it 90 degrees, and also change its scale. Now I will move it here. I will duplicate this button and move it on the other side and change its rotation to -90 degrees. Now we will use these buttons to change the cars, and I will name this previous button, and this will be our next button, or more descriptive name could be previous car button and next car button. Now I will add a text element above the car. So click here and add a text. I will change its scale and make it bigger and change the font size to 62 or maybe 120 to make it big, and align it horizontally and vertically and change its color. And I will say choose car. Now move it up here, and also if it is not centered, then click this and click this button here, and for me it is already in the middle and center. To change the position also, you need to click this and press Alt button on keyboard and then click this button, this icon here. So for me it is already middle and center. So down here we will add a button, and this is the button. And its text will be OK. Player will press this button when he has selected its car, and it will take it to the chosen track. So he will select its car by clicking these buttons, select his car by clicking these buttons, and then he will click OK, and then he will move away from this scene. So it is OK BTN, and also I need to change the font size of this OK button. Maybe it is too big, and I will make it 40. And if you want, you can also change the color. And now move it here, down here. So this is our scene ready. But we need to add the scripts to change the cars when player click these buttons, and we will do this in the next lecture. In this lecture, we will add scripts to these buttons so that player can change the car when he clicks these buttons. To do this, I have created a script here, and it is the select car, and open the script. Now inside here, declare a array of the game objects, and these will be our cars. Now save the script, and if you go to the hierarchy, first you need to attach the script to a game object. I will create an empty game object and name it choose car. And now add the script to this game object and change the size to 3. Now drag your prefabs. Drag your prefabs here, and this was our first car. and this was our second car, and this is our third car. So drag all the cars here. Now here I will declare a index, static int index, and I will initialize it with 1. Now here I will declare two methods, one for the next button, and I will call it next, and make sure these methods are public, and the other method will be called previous. Or you can give them more descriptive name, like I can call it next car and this is previous car. Now inside here we will write the code to change the car. When the user will click the next button, this will be our next button, the index will be increased. We will say index is equal to index plus 1. Now down here we will write conditions to check what is the index, and based on these indexes we will disable or enable the cars. So first we will check if index is 2. By default index is 1. So if player clicks the next button, then index will be 2. So we will check if index is 2, then we will disable the first car and we will enable the second car. So we will select the cars in the array. First we will disable all the cars. So we will disable all the cars inside the array. So write for each loop, for each game object car in cars, and this is cars, car dot set active pass. This will disable all the cars, and now outside of for each loop we will enable first car, second car, and second car will be at index 1, car 1, cars 1 dot set active and true. So let's see if it is working before adding next other code. Save your script and now choose your buttons here, and first we will add on click to this next car button. So click this plus button and drag your choose car game object here to which this script select car is attached, and here select the select car class, and from here choose the method next car. So let's see if it works. If we click this button, then it should enable the second car, but it is not working for some reason. Let me see if it is being called. So I will write a debug statement here, debug.log working. So first we need to check if this script is being called from this button, and it is being called actually, but for some reason this is not working. So let me see if this is our actually what I am doing wrong is I am adding these prefabs to this array. we don't need to add prefabs, we need to add the cars inside this car parent game object, the car which are in our scene. So I will do this again. Drag your first car, second car and third car, and now it should work. And you can see that it is working. All other cars are disabled and our second car is enabled. Now down here we will add similar code. I will copy this and here I will write else if statement and I will check if index is 3, then enable the third car. Now if the index is 4, then we will check it in the else condition. Then we will reset the index to 3 because we have not 3, we will reset the index to 2 because we have no more than 3 cars. The third car is at the position 2 in the car. Third car is at the position at index 2 in the array. So not 2, we will change the index back to 3 because here we are checking if the index is 3, then enable the second car, enable the third car which is at the index 2. So let's see if our next button script is working and we can choose all the cars. Click this and second car is enabled, and click this and third car is enabled. But we have not added any functionality to the previous button. So let's do this now. And the code for previous button will be similar. When player will click the previous button, it will decrease the index. Now, like above, here we will check the conditions based on the index. So if the index is 1, then we will enable the first car. So I will copy this code from here and paste it here. So first we will disable all the cars and we will enable the first car. Then we will check for the second index. If the index becomes 2, then we will enable the second car. So here we will need to add else if. Here we need to also check. We also need to check for the third index when index is 3. So when index is 3, we will enable the third car. So if the index becomes less than 1, then we will change it back to 1. Because index should never get to 0. We are checking for 1, 2 and 3 index. So for example, if user has selected click the next button and it has clicked the next button and now it is car 2, then it is car 3, then to go back the index will be decreased. When we will decrease the index will become 2 and second car will be enabled, and then index will become 3, then index will become 1 when he will click again the previous button and the first car will become enabled. So let's check it now. Here you can see that next button is working, but we need to add click event to the previous button. Click this plus icon, and like we did for the other button, I will choose the select car class and choose here previous car method. And you can see that we can choose the cars. Maybe we can remove this from the previous button, because we cannot read the third car by clicking the previous button, because how it will work, player will click the next button and it will go to the first car. When we will play the game, it will be first car, and player will click this button and it will be second car and then third car. And then from third car, from the previous button, we can come back to second car and first car. So we can remove this, and let's see if it works. And it works now. Now I will go to my main menu, and here in the next lecture we will add a script so that we can go to the choose car scene from this when we will click the play button. In this lecture, we will write script so that user can click this play button and he can move to choose car scene. And from the choose car scene, after selecting the car, he will be able to play the game. Create a new C# script, and I have named it my scene manager. And I have created an empty game object and attached the script to it. Open the script. At the top we need to add a namespace to use the scene manager, and scene manager is used to load new scenes. It is Unity engine.scene manager. Here we will write a method, and this method will be used to make sure that it is public, and it will be used to load the choose car scene. Therefore, I will say load choose car. And to load the new scene, I will say scene manager dot load scene, and inside here I will say 1 or whatever the index of the scene is. To add the scenes in the build settings, to load the scene, first you need to add scenes to build settings. So click this file and click this build settings. For you, there will be no scene here, and I will delete these so that I can show you how to add these. Select your scenes here. This will be our first scene, and it is at the 0th index. This is our second scene, and this will be our track. So indexes are 0, 1 and 2. So we will use these indexes to load the scene. Like here we are saying scene manager load scene at the index 1, and at the 1 index is the choose car scene. Now select your play button and add an on-click event here. Drag your scene manager game object here, and from the functions select the load choose car. Now let's try it, and if you click the play button, it will take you to the choose car scene. Now we will go to choose car scene. From the main menu, copy the scene manager and inside the choose car, right click and paste it here. I have already done it, and this is the same game object copied from the previous scene. And now open this script again and write another method here, and this method will be used to play the game after selecting the car, and it will be the second scene, third scene at the index 2. Now choose your button, select your button from the canvas here. This is the button which will take you to the game, and I have already added event, so I will remove it. You need to add this button and add this game object here, and this is the same in case of all the buttons, and click this play button. Now let's try it. Go to main menu and play the game. Play a game, click the play button. So game stopped and I will play again. Click the play button, it will take you to the choose car and you can select car from here, and now click the OK button and it will take you to the track to play the game. Now you can see that we have not written any script to play with the selected car, therefore it is the default car. We will do this in the next lecture so that we can play with the selected car, but first I will add a little script to this car, all the cars, so that it will rotate the cars in a way that player can view the car from all the angles. So create a script and I have named it rotate car, and inside the update write transform.rotate, and we don't want to rotate in the x direction, we will rotate in the y direction, and I will use a value here and again 0 in the z direction. This is the speed with which the car rotates around the y-axis, and I will multiply it with the time.delta time. This time.delta time make this transform.rotate independent of the frame rate. This object method runs according to the frame rate. So if the frame rate is 60 frames per second, then update will be called 60 times in a second. So this transform.rotate will also be called 16 times per second. By multiplying this value by time.delta time, we are making this rotation independent of the frame rate. Now let's see. And you can see that car is rotating. I have already added this script outside of this lecture, the rotate car script to the cars. So you need to add the script to the car so that car can rotate. I have added this script to all the cars. So you need to do the same, and you have seen that cars are rotating, all the cars are rotating, and you can change the speed by changing this number. For example, if I say 20 here, and you can see that car is rotating faster. And now in the next lecture we will write script so that player can play with this selected car. Now let's start making option scene. In the option scene, player will be able to choose one of the three tracks. In this game, we will make and set three tracks, and currently we are using only one track, but later we will use more than one track. So in the options, player can choose which track to play, and also it can select the number of opponent's card to compete with. So go to my projects and create a new scene and name this scene's options. Go to this scene now and again go to camera and choose a solid color, and I will change the color to black again. Now I will use the same buttons, and also I have brought a track image. This is the image and this is the track which we are currently using. Then later we will brought the images of the tracks which we will use. The other tracks, there will be three tracks we will be using. So this is the image for the first track. For now I will use only this one image, and I will create an empty game object and I will say it buttons. Inside here I will create two buttons, and these will be left and right or previous or next, previous and next. Or what I can do, I will delete this button. Instead of setting it again, this button will be similar to the button inside the choose card. I will go here and I will copy these two buttons. And now go to my options scene. And paste the buttons here and make them child of the canvas, because the buttons should be inside the canvas. And now I will move these buttons, move this up, also I will go to the choose card scene and I will copy this text element and come back to options scene, and inside here paste this button and make this child of the canvas, and I will move this text up and also make it smaller, 100 or maybe 70 font size is okay, and I will say here choose track. Also I will move these buttons a bit down, and in the middle of these buttons here I will place the image. I will go to the UI and place this image. This image is of type texture. I will make it this sprite 2D and UI and click apply, and now place it here. First place it in the hierarchy and now move it up. Move your buttons down. I will reduce the size of the image. Wherever I will make it 0.5 or maybe 0.7 in the X and Y direction. And now replace your buttons, change their Y position. Now player will click these buttons and it will show the track image to be played. Now down here we will add the buttons to choose the number of the opponents, and I will copy this text, or maybe I should duplicate it. I will right click and click duplicate and move it down and place it here, and I will change the text to choose number of, or I will simply say choose opponents. And I will change the text of this, change the name of the button to previous track button, and here I will say next track button. This is the previous track button and this is the next track button. I will copy these buttons, duplicate and move them down here, and I will rename them to previous button. I will simply say previous button. These are used to choose the number of opponents. Next button. Now inside the UI element I have some number sprites, and I will place these numbers inside an empty game object. Create an empty game object and call it numbers, and I will give the player options to choose from 1 to 4 cards. So place the number here 1, 2, 3 and 4, and I will disable these numbers and let me change their size 0.2 in the X and Y direction. Move it down. I will try increasing the size. I think 0.3 is okay. Copy the position of this button and select all other buttons and not buttons, number sprites, and paste their values here. Now let's check. And for the 1 and 2 the size is okay, but for the 3 size is still too big, and I will make it 0.2, and it is still too big, 0.18 or maybe 0.15 and 0.15 in the Y direction. Let's check for the number 4, and it should also be 0.15 and 0.15. Let's save the scene and now disable all the numbers except the number 1 here, and in the next lecture we will write script to choose the number of opponents. We will write the script to choose the track and play with selected track in the next lectures. Currently we will deal with the choosing the number of opponents.